Hello, so today we are looking at complex characters, and we're going to be using the characters from The Last Summer of the Death Warriors to look at this topic. I know we've been working on reading this book now for a few weeks, and everybody should be pretty much done with it. So this is what we're going to be tackling today. Okay, so getting started, let's look at today's big question. How do you determine someone's character? All right, so already we've got one of our academic vocabulary words highlighted, determine. This is a way to talk about how you find out or decide something. Now, as you can all see from the slideshow, we've got a Spanish cognate for determine, which is determinar. This is going to be helpful. I want you to, if this is a new word for you, feel free to write it down in your reading journal. And you can write down the Spanish definition if you want, or write down the English definition, or write down both. Okay, so we're going to take we're going to do our 5-minute free write today on how do you determine someone's character. All right, now I want you to think about your own lives. Maybe think about someone you like a lot, and why do you like them? You know, how do you make decisions about if you think that they're a trustworthy person, or if you think they're a good friend. Or you could additionally think of someone that maybe you don't like. Maybe there's someone you've had a falling out with. What went into you deciding? What helped you determine that you didn't like them? All right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and when the timer goes off, I want you to turn to a partner and just talk about what you wrote. All right, now as always, everybody, for this 5-minute free write, you can write in whatever language you want to write. You can use a combination of languages. You don't have to use full sentences. This is just some time for you to think of your own ideas. Organize your thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer now, and let's get going. All right, the timer went off. Give you a minute to turn to a partner and talk about your answer. Okay, so let's kind of go over some answers together. Telling someone's characters through what they do or their actions, what they say or the words they use, what I hear about them, stories you hear, gossip you've heard, basically what other people have told you. And then another one that can be trickier in real life, but sometimes in a novel is a little bit easier, is what they think or believe. So their thoughts. Now in real life, we don't always know what people are thinking, but maybe we find out. Maybe they'll tell us at different points. However, in a novel, lots of times the author will write their thoughts. So this is something that we can use when we're reading that maybe we can't always use in real life. Okay, so today what we're going to do next is we're going to look at 3 of the main characters from Last Summer of the Death Warriors. We're going to look at Pancho, DQ, and Marisol. And you are going to choose which character you want to do a deep dive on, and you're going to get into groups of 2 or 3, and I'm going to hand out the question-answer relationship questions, and you're going to work on them in a group. So I've got the questions up here, but you're also going to get a worksheet. We've got a couple right there questions that you can find in the text. What does your character look like? That one should be pretty easy. It can help us get a feel for the character though, and a feel for just getting familiar with who they are. And sometimes there are some clues in there about what the author thinks about them. Now another right there question is, does this character have friends? Do they have enemies? This can give us some insight into someone's character. A think and search question. How does this character treat other people? What kind of challenges does this character face? So those ones are going to take a little extra thought. You're going to have to look around in the text a little bit, and you can work as partners. I want you to take turns asking the questions, but you can work together to find the answers. All right. I only put up one author and me question and one on my own question this week. Author and me, what surprised you about the character? On my own, would you want to be friends with this person? If so, why? Why not? If you think of another author and me question, go ahead and write it down in your journal. And if you have time, you can also work on answering that one together as a group. Okay, so we're going to have some time now to work on these questions. I want you all to be, make sure you announce which question you're going to ask, and then read it clearly. And then, when the person comes up with their answer, have a discussion, talk to each other. All right, next up, we've got our complex character anchor chart. So you've already done a lot of the work to fill this out in your QAR session. I want you to choose which character you're looking at. If you want to, feel free to draw a little picture of them. You can also just write their name, just do something that represents them in the middle. And now I know we've done this chart before, so you're going to look at words that the character says, words other people say about them. You're going to look at their thoughts and then their actions. Now, the important thing about this anchor chart is what they say, what they think, what they do, what others say about them. Those things don't always line up. And that's one of the things that makes a character complex, is the fact that they might say one thing and then do something else. So if you notice anything that's a contradiction, I want you to circle it. And I want you to make a line and point to the words, the thoughts, the actions, what other people have said that contradicts that about them. So what we're trying to figure out here, what we're trying to dig into, is what makes these characters complex. So you're going to stay in your same groups, get to working on this, and just, dig into looking at this character as a fully rounded person. Okay, we're going to have about another 20 minutes to work on this. And then we're going to all come back together. Okay, so to end our lesson today, we've got an exit slip question. So I want everybody to get back into their individual desks, and you're going to work on this by yourself. But you've got your anchor chart, you've got your QRAs, QARs, and so you can use those to help you write describe your character in 2 to 3 sentences using adjectives and or examples from the text. All right, so for our emerging students, the sentence frame you're using is the character is, or, whatever character you chose. Marisol is also. So you could say Marisol is kind. Marisol is also frustrated. So, people can be 2 different things. They can be conflicting things. For my developing students, it gets a little more complicated. So I think the character is blank because blank. So you could say, I think DQ is brave because he is facing death. Wow, that's a lot, right? I want you to write 2 of those sentences. Now, for my expanding students, let's go a little bit farther. I can infer the character is blank since she blank. I can infer Poncho is, what is he? Hurt. Since he, what can we say he's doing? Since he's, he fights everybody, right? So we're just gonna, it's all kind of the same thing, but it's just, we're changing the complexity of the sentence to help it just make sense to you. The most important thing is that it makes sense to you and you know what you're writing, you feel comfortable with what you're writing. So I want everyone to get to work on your exit slips, and then before you head out today, turn those into me along with your anchor charts and the QARs. And tomorrow we're going to start comparing different characters that we worked on today to each other. So tomorrow we'll do some comparing and contrasting. All right, thanks everybody.